Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Frankie Boyle!
Been here for a couple of weeks, it's the last night! This show is mostly about politics. I think a real problem is capitalism, it's billionaires, it's the 1%. These are sick fucking people. Elon Musk is a horrendous human being, even by South African standards. They want to go up to space now. Richard Branson, he went up to space. Said, I'm just doing this to help humanity. I just really want to help the human race. If you really want to help the human race, Richard, blow your fucking head off. Not even joking. Tuck a shotgun under your sun-dried BG face. Because the only way anyone wants to see you achieve weightlessness is through a particularly aggressive form of cancer. Funny because it's true. A few people are nerved there by the early mention of cancer. You've bought the wrong ticket. This is a cancer-heavy, some would say cancer-themed, 65 minutes. Jeff Bezos, he went up to space with his brother, and I didn't want them to die exactly. What I wanted to happen was for the force of takeoff to make the straps that were holding them down cut into them both and castrate them, so that when they got to zero gravity, their cocks would start bobbing about in the compartment and go into each other's mouths. I didn't want them to die, I wanted them to get safely back to Earth and for it to be weird forever. Capitalism doesn't work. Luxuries aren't the thing you're supposed to have. Luxuries are just supposed to be desired. If you ever get a luxury, it's always disappointing. I can remember when I was wee, my idea of luxury was oysters. That's what rich people ate in movies when I was a kid. So when I first did some money, I thought, fuck it, try the oysters. Don't know if you've ever had oysters, but if you enjoy licking cum off the back of a tortoise, if your favourite texture is a corpse's clitoris, rich people aren't happy. Simon Cowell had a facelift that makes him look like George Michael being suffocated with cling film. What do these people ask their plastic surgeons for? I want dogs to bark at me in the street. I don't want to be able to open my own iPhone. So I've been trying to get fitter. Not fit exactly, I just want to look a bit less like I put gravy on my fucking cereal. So I started getting into Zoom yoga, and Zoom yoga has its risks. I don't know if you've ever coughed to try and cover a fart, but it's possible to get your timing wrong. And it's like you've cleared your throat to announce a fart. I'm 51 now, 51. When I ejaculate, it's like a party popper from a flood-damaged pound shop. You know what worries me about getting old? That thing when really old people get like brown spots in their skin. Imagine that, you look down at yourself one day and you go, fucking hell, if I was a banana they'd throw me away. I can still remember when I found my first grey pubic hair. It was stuck between my teeth. I was 8 years old. And I'd stayed up late that night to try to meet Santa Claus. I've nothing against Ricky Gervais. I've nothing against Ricky Gervais fans. If you are one, stupid people need to laugh too. And let's be honest, if someone put a gun in your head and said you've got to watch a stand-up show by Michael McIntyre or a stand-up show by Ricky Gervais, I think we all know what we'd choose. Death. Alright, big chap. Want a glass of water?
I've got a beer, I'm fine.
I've got a beer, I'm fine, you said in your posh Edinburgh voice.
Not from Edinburgh.
Shut the fuck up, pants. Good to have a bit of banter with the fans. So I'm 51 and I'm single. If you're a woman, consider dating a 51-year-old man. Think of the thrill of going out with someone who doesn't have the strength to cheat on you. I've had 2 dates in the last 4 years. The first one was right at the start of the first lockdown. I was talking to a woman online. She was really beautiful, she seemed to be really funny. And she said, it's good you're talking to me, because a lot of guys just block me. And that was a bit of a red flag. So we had a wee Zoom date so I could work out what the problem was. And it turned out the problem was that she was a Nazi. She was an actual Nazi. And because it was the start of the first lockdown, there was a big part of me that thought, there might not be a society left to judge me. Can I get away with this? Can I hole up with this beautiful Nazi for some crisis sex? Let's roleplay, I'm Poland, let's fucking do this! But it turned out she wasn't that funny. And a lot of the times I thought she was being funny. She was actually being serious. And it kind of made me wonder, what if Hitler was just being ironic? And nobody around him really got it because they were all Germans? My other date was with a friend of mine. She'd always had terrible taste in men. We couldn't do any hope. We went to her work's Christmas night out, and that was the date. And they were all lovely people, they all worked in and around the Labour Party in some way. And it went well, the party side of things, because I've got better at small talk over the years. I realise now that you kind of need small talk. You can't get through life with just big talk. Hey, it's nice to meet you. My uncle has leukemia. So I went fine. And then at the end of the night they decided to play a parlour game. And the game was, which one person would you fuck and which one person would you kill in the previous year? The guy in front of me said that he would fuck AOC, the American politician, Ocasio-Cortez. He said, and I would kill fucking Philip Schofield. And he got really worked up about this. Now this was before Philip Schofield's more recent adventures. I didn't really understand the debate there. I just remember they going, how can they replace this guy? Get literally anybody. Can you stay awake and ask the occasional question without fucking anybody? You're sort of overqualified. Now this guy was a Labour Party guy. What he was annoyed about was at the last general election, Philip Schofield gave a very harsh interview to Jeremy Corbyn. Then about a week later, he gave a very softball interview to Boris Johnson. Now you might not remember that, but this guy remembered it. And he brought some real tension into the room. And I was next, and I said, well in that case, I suppose I would kill Holly Willoughby and fuck the body. So I'm still single. And it was a joke! It was a joke! Obviously I'd fuck her then, kill her, I'm not a monster! That was a joke! That was also a joke! In reality, I'd wank on our curtains and kill myself. And what I thought would be an interesting thing to do in this show is to ask whether that's a joke I should be doing in the year 2023. I can see it from both sides, I really can. I'm going to unpack the whole thing with some length, don't you worry. Before I do that, let's remember, people get into comedy. I think this gets forgotten. People get into comedy for all kinds of different reasons. I was doing a show with a guy a couple of weeks ago. I said, why did you get into stand-up? He said, you know what? I always just wanted to put a smile on people's faces. And that had genuinely never occurred to me. I was always much more, let's wipe the smile off their fucking faces. So let's look at that joke, right? There's part of me that thinks, aye, I can joke about that, and I can joke about anything, because jokes are fiction. And fiction isn't really supposed to bear very much weight. Do you ever watch a movie where they're trying to hack into a computer, they're trying to guess the password, and they look around the room and they go, oh, he likes ancient Egypt, eh? Pharaohs, I'm in. I can't guess my own fucking password. Your password is weak, it's going to have to be weak. I am weak. By the way, right, I'm not one of these comedians. You know, these comedians are like, oh, I'm being silenced. These people are being silenced. Anytime I hear someone saying they're being silenced, I always think, how come I can still fucking hear you? You know, these people, the anti-woke people, oh, everything's gone woke. Watch my favourite TV show, it's gone woke. I find that translates as, I saw a black person. I think if you don't like a joke, you can judge the joke. You can judge the person for telling the joke. You paid to see the joke. Feel how you like about it. All I'm saying is, I think we should remember sometimes there's a difference between someone without power saying something, which is what most stand-up is most of the time, and someone with power doing something. And nowadays, because they all trend in the same sidebars, we start to give them a similar kind of a weight. Now you might say, well, you have power. That's true, I have a certain amount of power. The amount of power I have is not quite enough to get on Richard Osman's House of Games. Even though it's filmed in Glasgow, really quite close to my house. And I have asked. And with wee power comes wee responsibility. If we have a Home Secretary who turns back boats in the Channel, sets up camps in Rwanda, that's someone with power doing something. Our Home Secretary is the only person in the world who can achieve orgasm by imagining a slow puncture at sea. Suella Braverman, someone whose attitude to people crossing the Channel makes Priti Patel look like fucking Moses. Priti Patel's the sort of person that can watch refugee footage and go, fucking hell, my nipples are so hard, I could bust that dinghy myself. With Suella Braverman, it'd be more like, I could squirt enough to drown the survivors. Doesn't even make sense to turn those boats back. Welcome those people onto the shore and ask them, can they drive a truck? Because Britain is in the middle of a trucking crisis that we will never solve until we release our serial killers. People say we need to attract truck drivers from Europe. We don't. We need to attract hitchhikers. The truck drivers will follow. Priti Patel brought in a new law before she left. It's part of a crime and policing bill. It's now a mandatory life sentence if you kill a policeman while he's on duty. What if I'm trying to stop a rape? Am I supposed to wait until he's finished his shift? I like this thing the Met do now. They go, we were totally shocked to learn about the behaviour of our colleague, who we had nicknamed Dave, the serial rapist. Sheila Bradman got done for speeding. I want her speeding though. I want her travelling at 200 miles an hour at all times. Let's get a fucking ramp involved. I want her heading into a Hot Wheels loop, travelling at Mach 3 on the back of a motorcycle driven by fucking Ant McPartland. So look, there's part of me that thinks I can joke about these subjects. And even like those couple of jokes about the Met, they can be political jokes. They can be jokes that are worth telling. But then another part of me thinks no. Another part of me thinks no. I only think that because I'm a part of toxic masculinity. I grew up in toxic masculinity and I can't see it from the outside. I grew up in Glasgow in the 1970s. I can remember when they brought out the Yorkie bar. They had to bring out a special chocolate bar that men felt comfortable buying. Because these guys wandering about when I'd love a dairy milk, but I'm worried that it's a bit poofy. I had a really good pal growing up who never came out. This guy never came out. His dad was a religious conservative type. This is easy for me to say, but I like to think I would at least take pleasure in telling my dad that I was going to end his genetic line. That I was going to take millennia of refinements to his DNA and blast them into the barren soil of a barista's arsehole. Because we grew up like that, anytime I see a win for the gay community, always lifts my heart. It's a great thing last year. DC Comics brought out a gay Superman. Now I love Superman. I love the idea of a gay Superman. I love the idea of being gay with Superman. He could use his X-ray vision to watch his cock moving inside me. I always find it the more uncomfortable the audience are with the idea of the gay Superman, the more gay stuff Superman will do in this routine. Just for the record, that's the most uncomfortable any audience has ever been. Gay Superman. I wonder how low he can set his laser eyes, because he could use it to warm my arsehole up. Just pressing at either side of the anus like two warm thumbs. I would like to get a blowjob off Superman because he might suck me inside out. Did you come? No, that's my spine! At the same time, you wouldn't want to give Superman a blowjob because when he comes out like the fucking Kennedy assassination. When I was a wee boy growing up in Glasgow, I thought I saw a superhero one day. But it turned out it was just a depressed clown throwing himself off a tower block. Such an interesting cough that with this new variant going about. I don't want to alarm you, but my uncle had that exact same cough and he died from cancer. Tell you what he didn't do though, didn't go out at night and ruin other people's entertainment. So look, it's a toxic masculine society. I was trying to think for this show, is there an advantage women have over men in this society? The best I could come up with is this. A woman can tell a funny story about taking a vibrator on holiday. A woman can tell an anecdote, oh my vibrator fell out the bag at customs, we'll all be charmed. Whereas if a man tells a story about how he spent 2 weeks in a hotel room plunging into an artificial vagina, it can only serve as the grimmest of red flags.
So
look, if we're looking for an answer to that question, should I be doing that joke about Holly Willoughby? Don't think it's a very satisfying answer, by the way. I think the answer is probably it's okay in this context. It's okay if I use it as a springboard to talk about some more interesting things. I wouldn't just do it out of context. The reason I wouldn't just do it, it's not really clear enough to me who the target is. It's supposed to be a joke about me and my shortcomings. I don't think everybody takes it that way. Maybe if you can be cavalier, the subject of a joke, it just has to be a bit of a worse person. If that was about Harvey Weinstein, we wouldn't be debating it, would we? Harvey Weinstein just got 16 years added on his sentence. He was back in court. His defence this time was, it was all consensual. I think the jury had one look at Harvey Weinstein and went, he came into court in a walk-in frame. He was trying to get sympathy and it backfired. It just looked like his hips were knackered from all the raping. So that joke got misquoted in a newspaper. There's a wee bit of scandal about it. That kind of thing happens all the time. There's another thing that happens to me much more rarely, and I have to enjoy it when it does happen. Very occasionally, I'll do a joke and I'll immediately know I shouldn't have said that. I'm just like, no, I shouldn't have fucking said this. I'm going to get fucking crucified here. And then nobody notices, and you actually get away with it. That happened to me just over a year ago. I was doing a TV show called The Last Leg. The Last Leg goes out on a Friday night on Channel 4, and it goes out live. They're a lovely bunch of people. They give you a heads up on some of the questions. And so one of the questions we're going to ask you is, what's next for Boris Johnson? Because just over a year ago, Boris Johnson had just resigned as Prime Minister. And I forget what I planned to say. I just got totally thrown. It was live TV. And the host asked me in quite a breezy way, just turned around and went, so Frankie, what's next for Boris? And for some reason, I found myself going, I hope he dies soon. Boris Johnson, like someone injected Hitler's DNA into a panna cotta. So I was slightly hunched over, wasn't he, from a lifetime of being crammed into married women's wardrobes. Do you reckon Boris Johnson has a loyalty card for his local abortionist? Like, I don't want to pressure you, love, but if it's twins, I could get a toaster. Fucked COVID, couldn't have done any worse with COVID. The first thing he did was to catch COVID himself. He said contingency plans were made for my death. That's true, I bought fireworks. I suppose Boris Johnson's a bit like Marmite. If everyone thought that Marmite was a cunt. Then we had Liz Truss, a woman who looks like she masturbates to pictures of new build houses.
Oh God.
She always had that look in her eye, didn't she? The wheels spinning but the hamster's dead. And what's his name? Kwasi Kwarteng, a sort of Sith version of Howard from the Halifax ads. Now it's Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak is actually quite far to the right of Boris Johnson. It's actually got worse. It's like we've tunnelled our way out of R. Kelly's house and emerged in Prince Andrew's basement. Rishi Sunak is too wee, man. It's fucking weird to me how wee that guy is. It might not be too late to abort him. He can't give any speeches at night in case he gets taken by an owl. That's the Prime Minister, a guy who'd lose a cage fight to Mary Berry. Why wee? Why is he so fucking wee? They've never offered a word of explanation. I have two theories. One is, he plays some kind of role in the Conservative Party's satanic ceremonies, where he has to climb up a demon's urethra like a little chimney sweep. Or maybe he's symbolic on an occult level, and as Britain becomes weaker and more fucked up, we need this wee fucked up looking guy to represent us. And maybe it's the same with America. Joe Biden is like a laptop that's on 4%. His skin is practically translucent now. He's like a fucking Vietnamese spring roll. I actually think Joe Biden's done alright for someone who doesn't know he's president. It's going to be Donald Trump again, isn't it? Donald Trump. A quaver balanced on top of a Watson. The whole world's getting more right wing, isn't it? We saw Qatar, the World Cup. The last time football was played on top of that many corpses, it was the Christmas Day truce in World War I. Don't joke about World War I too soon. The FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, he gave that famous speech at the start of the World Cup. He said, "Today I feel gay, today I feel disabled." I can sort of relate to that. There are days when I feel gay, but it's usually the day after that I feel disabled. And then the hypocrisy of it, they didn't let Harry Kane wear his rainbow armband. To be fair to Harry Kane, he still did his bit for gay rights by talking as if he had a cock in his mouth. I'm going to score a goal for England with a big old cock in my mouth. Maybe they expect too much of footballers. They're not the brightest guys in the world, are they? LGBTQ is just Harry Kane trying to remember the alphabet. It's like David Beckham getting 150 million from Qatar. What's someone of David Beckham's intellect going to do with 150 million pounds? He's probably shredded it to make a nest. I think Gary Lineker's a good guy, right? I think what he said about refugees was really useful. I thought it was great that he did that. But does anyone else worry that we now have to look to footballers for decency? When did footballers, of all people, become the good guys? Nowadays, when you read that Premiership players were involved in a spit roast, it's a community cooking initiative. And all I'm saying is, maybe we get more of that celebrity opposition, that symbolic opposition, is the real opposition that's supposed to be there kind of dies away. So the real opposition at the minute is supposed to be Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is sort of like the picture that's in the frame when you buy it. If he ran at a pigeon, it wouldn't move. Keir Starmer tried to go on Who Do You Think You Are, but nobody knew who he was. See, if you don't have a personality and you're in politics, you're trying to get elected, fucking make something up then! Put a parrot on your shoulder! Smoke a pipe! Tell people that you're double jointed! Give us something to fucking work with! Do you know what it's like? Do you remember once a month somebody come on Ready Steady Cook and they turn the bag out and they go, there you go, 5 onions and a can of Fanta. Make something with that. Keir Starmer is that without the Fanta. It's always got two stories, doesn't it? One is, my dad was a toolmaker. Of course he was, he fucking made you, didn't he? And then he'll say, my dad used to go out to work from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. He'd come home, he'd have his dinner, he'd go back out and work again from 6 until 10 o'clock at night. And that to me sounds like quite an unusual shift pattern. I wonder when it occurred to Keir Starmer that his dad was going to the pub. My father was often so exhausted he'd stagger home and piss in my wardrobe. That is fucked, isn't it? Fuck, done, over. Basically, if this country was your pet dog, round about now you'd be telling your kids that the operation it needs costs exactly the same as a PlayStation 5. There was a charity report last month said the cost of living crisis is going to force children to take up drug dealing, which I personally welcome due to their poor negotiating skills. There's another report that said social care for the elderly in this country is now a lottery. Then again, old people, they love a lottery, don't they? Maybe if you get a bingo caller to give them their diagnosis, they may start to look forward to it. Legs 11, you're off to heaven. On its own, your husband in a fortnight. They're saying now there might be gas shortages this winter, do you know that? Imagine that, you go through lockdown, you come out, you're faced with food shortages, inflation's going up, your mortgage is going up, your wages aren't going up, you go home, you stick your head in the oven, and nothing happens. Things are getting so bad I can barely afford to heat my basement. And let me tell you, there is nothing sadder than a shivering gimp. So we've got strikes in this country now, because we fucking need strikes in this country. We should support people who are on strike, because stuff is just getting destroyed. Things like the ambulance service, just getting destroyed. Nowadays, your best hope of getting to hospital is phoning Deliveroo, then collapsing on your doorstep dressed as a lambooner. We should want people in caring jobs paid properly. It's reassuring when people like doctors and nurses are getting paid properly. Of all the ways that I want my prostate examined, resentfully, it's quite far down the list. You sure you need to form a fist? That's quite a run-up you're taking. Occasionally you get to keep his wristwatch, so the swings around round. People say you can't get a GP's appointment anymore, and you can. You just need to tell them you have something they'd be interested in seeing. There's something growing under my arm and it looks like a beak. I've been feeding it seeds, but it says it wants meat. They'll get you in to satisfy their curiosity. The best time to go to the doctor was the Victorian era, when they'd either give you cocaine, wank you off, or send you to the seaside. I'm looking forward to antibiotic claps. That's when it's fucking game on again. Once we can all die from paper cuts. Oh dear, I seem to have bitten my tongue. Goodbye. I enjoy that wee gentle joke. Which leads me into the bit where I talk to the audience. Which has been a lot of fun. I've been having wee chats with people. Don't worry, we don't talk to people who don't want to be talked to. You, sir, you look like you're defending a fucking free kick. Relax. It's not horrible put downs like in the old days, it's generally a bit of a laugh. have a wee chat to a couple of people, and then I try to explain to people what Scotland's like. That's what I've been doing on the tours. I've been doing that in London. Let's find out a bit about folk. Anyone who wants a wee cough now, this might be the time. Let's be honest, we're not all going to fucking make it out of here alive. What have we got then? Who fancies a chat? What about you? Fella with a beard, you look like quite a cheerful fucker. What's your story, man? Where are you from? Leeds? You're the most cheerful cunt from Leeds I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen one of them smile before. Did they exile you or something? Why are you down in London? To see me? You just commuted down here? You just travelled down here? Right, cool. What you doing in Leeds? You're a musician. That covers a whole wealth of possibilities, doesn't it? You could be doing literally anything. What's your instrument? Do you play guitar? Are you in a band? What's your band called? It's just under your name. So it's a band. With a guy's name. Hey, have you seen that band? John Thompson. What the fuck's going on? That's like no band that's ever existed. What the fuck are you doing? I can already find a new marketing strategy for your band. Get a band name. What's your name? Joe. So it's just one name. That's the name of the band? Or you only have one name? What the fuck is going on, man? Is this like Cher? She at least didn't think she was a band. Are you a fucking schizophrenic, Joe? What the fuck is this? Joe, how many people are in this band, Joe? 4. Now, how could I put this? Do you think you have really thought about search engine optimization? Because when people go, I want to see that band Joe, and type in Joe, very unlikely you're going to be the first thing to go. It's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff, isn't it? I guess that's why people have names for their band. Did you not consider that? Do you ever talk to someone and know that somewhere there's a support worker signed off with stress? Is he in the band? You're in the band? And it's just called Joe. What's your name? Are you Joe as well? What's your name? Tim. Tim would be a better name for a band. It would be something. And did you consider the whole having a name for the band rather than just naming it like it was a person? It does include his last name. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. What's the band called? Joe Doonan is a band. Have you just thought, I want to try and create as much confusion among possible sales as possible. You're a solo artist and now he's denigrated you. You've been bumped down to session musician. You're in a band. You make more money that way. Oh, it's an angle. I like it. I like this guy's attitude. I like your tattoos. I'm kind of suppressing an urge to blue tack you to my fridge. You're like the back of a pub toilet door, but a very nice hip pub. What's your story, man? What instrument do you play? Bass. And who else is in the band? Well, it's not a band, you're just paying people. You're a bit of an exploitative cunt, Joe. What you've done is you've gone, what band's that? It's normally a bunch of friends all get together, and for a small moment in time they manage to express themselves before they fucking just lose their minds on cocaine and let it all go to shit. But for a while there's a beautiful moment there, and you thought, let's skip that bit. Let's get straight to exploiting this fucking dude and just call it my name. What's your best song? Yeah. Yeah, a title. You've really not got a handle of this whole naming thing business. You're kind of acting to me as if, well, that's pretty strange. People don't normally. What's your album called? Just album? Like, do your songs not have titles as well? Are they just fucking named after you? You fucking narcissistic bastard. Yeah, title. Spotify, Joe Doonan, On My Mind. Good, well there we go. People went a bit blind date for that one, I don't know why. There we go, so we'll have a wee listen later and then I'll fucking, I'll check it out. Who else have we got? You. How you doing? You look quite hip, you look too hip to be in my audience, to be honest. Where you from? Banger. Belfast. Holy shit, you had to leave. You are way too hip to be in fucking Northern Ireland. And what's brought you over here? What'd you do? Food service? You're a waiter? I don't know why people give it weird names. But yeah, that's okay. Well, how do you enjoy being a waiter? Not at all. You're quitting next week? Fantastic. What's your plan? Kill a few folk. We're about 18 months away from that, aren't we? It's just like, yeah, I'm going to fucking quit and kill a few folk. Let's get a flamethrower together off the internet and fucking take a few of these cunts with me. You better tip, motherfuckers. There's a flamethrower in the back. Good for you, man. Hope life's good. What about, who else have we got? What about?
Frankie, what about Russell Brand?
Shut the fuck up, you cunt. My immediate suspicion is you are a journalist. Yeah. Because that's what they do. We've had it already in this show. They come down and they go, well, whatever he says, I can fucking misquote it into some shit headline. Because we live in hell. We live in hell. And lazy journalists who could be doing other things to research that story, let's be honest, we'd rather come and get a fucking cheat code. You've ended the fun for everybody. I didn't deny it either, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's a fucking sick world, man. Who the fuck wants to do that pish? I've had fun explaining to folk a bit about Scotland. I think the real key though is everything is different. Language is different. In Glasgow, the word entrepreneur means someone who will kill your ex for 80 quid. And then I remember this story for explaining it. This happened to me last Christmas, and I think if you can understand this story, you can understand Glasgow. I went to get my eyes tested at the optician, and she said, your eyesight has deteriorated quite a bit, but I wouldn't worry about it. I said, why not? She went, because I'm not you. Nicola Sturgeon resigned. I think Nicola Sturgeon did well in Scotland because she looked like a typical Scottish woman. She looked like a fire alarm had gone off halfway through her haircut. And we could relate to that. And then all the people that stood to replace her were kind of depressing. One of them was against gay marriage, which doesn't make any sense to me. The national dress of Scotland is a man in a skirt sucking on a bag of cocks. I'm not a nationalist, by the way. I'm not even one of those people who likes to see England getting beaten in the World Cup. I'd much rather see the team playing crash into an oil refinery. Never goes that well in England, naturally, but I persevere. I think Scotland is getting increasingly conservative, right? So there's a scandal in Scotland because they were allegedly teaching anal sex as part of the sex education programme in Scottish schools. I think they should teach anal sex in Scottish schools because in my experience, a lot of the teachers are doing it wrong. Even the independence movement is this kind of reactionary side to it now. So there's a big scandal in Scotland because an SNP MP, which is called Mary Black, took a drag queen to read a story at school. People were like, this is terrible. A drag queen reading a story in a school. Our school had a fucking priest in it. An actual paedophile wizard. That's why bishops and popes had those big hats. It was for catching kids. Scotland. I grew up Catholic. My favourite Bible story was always Abraham and Isaac. God said to Abraham to sacrifice his son, Isaac. So Abraham takes the boy by the hand. He leads him out till he's built an altar. He's chopped up some logs to build this altar. Puts the boy in the altar. Goes to bring his knife down. Goes to bring his knife down on his own son. Just as he does it, God shouts out, "Stop! I've come." Maybe I'll try and lighten things up a wee bit. Do you reckon other serial killers considered Harold Shipman to be a bit of a gold poacher? I had to get off Twitter recently because of death threats. Lorraine Kelly just didn't seem to be reading them anymore. No, I actually got off there because I find those jokes you can't do on there anymore. And maybe shouldn't do on there. Maybe they're more for places like this. So I found this the day that Sean Connery died. I was one of the first people to read the news because it happened quite early in the morning. And I thought of tweeting, "They've shaken him and he's not stirred." Who needs that grief in their life? I got a bit of grief. I did a joke about newspapers going out of business, and a lot of journalists get very annoyed about this. They said, "This is hypocritical, because you have worked for newspapers in the past." That to me is the most middle class fucking attitude. The idea that because you work for something, you must like it. I come from a working class background. I imagine if you work somewhere, you want it to burn to the fucking ground. And for everyone one pay grade above you to die in the fire. Working class people need to start being more honest in job interviews. And when they go, "Where do you see yourself ideally, in 5 years' time?" "Standing in the ruins of this building, pissing on your burning skull." All I'm saying is, right, the cleaners in the Twin Towers, when they saw those planes coming towards them, must have had kind of mixed feelings. Gonna get some shit for that one eventually. My auntie actually worked in it. Fucking auntie! I've mellowed a lot over the years. A bit like AIDS. But people are still surprised when they meet me off stage. They go, "Oh, you're very different." Of course I am, it's an act. It's called an act. What did people think was happening with Lee Evans when he'd run on and start falling all over the place? Did they think he had fucking multiple sclerosis or something? Maybe Peter Kay kept asking us if we remembered stuff because he had Alzheimer's. Remember taking the top 10 off the radio? Because I don't anymore, I'm scared. That's my favourite bit of the show. Peter Kay unable to access his own nostalgic memories due to the horrors of incipient dementia. That's what gets me out of fucking bed in the morning. The real dividing line in Britain is class. Class. That's why you get people like Jacob Rees-Mogg. Jacob Rees-Mogg is one of those Tories who doesn't know the price of milk because he still gets it straight from his nanny's nipples. Interesting that was the line for this audience and not cancer. Jacob Rees-Mogg. It's quite an achievement to be able to stand out as alienatingly posh in the Conservative Party. It's like James Corden managing to stand out as an arsehole in America. Jacob Rees-Mogg knows one sexual position and it's mummy on top. We don't really have a Scottish equivalent, do we? I was thinking that today. Maybe Michael Gove. To be fair, Michael Gove is an incredibly persuasive speaker, presumably from spending his childhood having to convince fishermen that he was human. This next joke, really lets me see how many working class people are in the audience, and to be honest, I have very bleak expectations for it. I come from a very different background. When we grew up, our next door neighbour was a heroin addict, and when he died, the whole community went into mourning because we knew we were going to have to start paying full price for electrical goods. Most comedians you see on TV, they don't come from that kind of background. They let them into public school in Oxbridge. Oxbridge, if you don't know, is a compound word that comes from the words obnoxious and privilege. And they tend to deny it. You know, I was like, oh, I was one of the really posh ones. I was so far down the pecking order at school, there were nights when I had to rate myself. If you're having a big group of people, you don't know who went to public school, who went to comprehensive, ask them, who was the most famous person who went to your school? Because if they went to a comprehensive, the answer is always hilarious. Remember that guy that murdered his fiancée? In an argument about a box of miniature heroes. The wee bounty killer, that's him, yeah. He was at our school, deputy head of maths. I did an interview last year with Louis Theroux. He was saying, what was the worst thing that happened at your school? And I didn't want to tell him, because it was that fucking bad. A wee guy at our secondary school got his head chopped off by his dad. His dad was a butcher. Presumably made a pretty good job of it, right? But it's only as he was telling him, I remembered for the first time in years, the front of their shop had a massive sign, and at the top it was his name, and underneath, Family Butcher. My son is a wonderful wee guy. That's the only problem with being on tour. I miss my son a bit. He's a very kind, very polite wee guy. We don't know what happened really. He's got one flaw in this boy. He's got a uniquely penetrating voice. He's got a voice like a fucking bugle. And he loves football, so I take him to all the Scotland women's games at Hampden. Loves it. First time I took him, he was still pretty wee. If you've ever been to a women's football match, all the players have got their hair up, not kind of scrunched up in some fashion. He had a good look round and went, well, there's a lot of tight buns out there. We were going around London a couple of months ago, just down the road there actually. I was showing him all the statues. I was going, look, all these people are mass murderers. Because this was the British Empire, that's how you get a statue up, you're a mass murderer. And he went, and the occasional explorer. Because they helped find more people for us to kill. Britain's a racist country, man. Do you remember when the government put adverts about knife crime inside boxes of fried chicken? That happened. I want to see Waitrose sushi boxes plastered with graphic warnings about inheritance tax fraud. I had two good pals in my life from the British Army. They both had the same attitude. They both like, Britain, best fucking country in the world, mate. Best fucking country in the world. And I said, well, I don't know, man. If your main experience of visiting other countries is with the army, I'm not sure that you should be writing the fucking TripAdvisor review. I'll watch my best friend's legs boomerang around the poppy field. 2 stars. I like that joke. I like that joke because it lets me know how invested my audience are in the idea of the British state. Do you know what I mean? And when you get to London, people are still pretty invested in it because you think it's okay, because you've not had a look around. It's fucked. It's fucking over. Look at Northern Ireland. Right, look, I'm not saying good things haven't happened in Northern Ireland the last few years. They legalised abortion. I think that's a really good thing. Because it's difficult to say this, right? But it's hard to go to Northern Ireland without meeting someone who should have been aborted. I did it in Belfast a couple of months ago, and they were kind of forced to agree. He's right, Peter, it's you. I was thinking the north and the south of Ireland are kind of like two halves of one bipolar personality. Let's get the jolly old fiddlets! Stick it through some cunt's head. Even just the number of places that begin with the word kill. I'm from Kill a Few More. It's just up the road from Kill 'Em All Again. They know the real problem is the DUP, the political wing of the Old Testament. They don't want any kind of Brexit that would be too good for Northern Ireland, because they worried if they don't get the full pain of Brexit, that'll make them less British. You have to wonder, is there any act of self-harm that Britain could get involved in that the DUP wouldn't want to join in with? Hey, DUP, we've decided to start crossbreeding homeless guys with big cats and just releasing them into our city centres. Say no more, Britain! Our war against the tiger people has begun. I realise that on some level, you're human being, because you're we English people, in the main, right, you're we English people, you don't give much of a fuck about Northern Ireland, or Ireland, as I call it. Or Scotland, you don't give much of a fuck about Scotland, you don't give much of a fuck about anything. Your empire is over, and you wish you were dead. So I'm going to tell you one last wee quick thing about Ireland, just because I think you'll be interested in it, and I'll explain what's happening at the end of the show. But when I did that gig in Belfast a couple of months ago, it was the first time I'd been able to do a gig there for 8 years, because the last time I played there was incredibly controversial. I get booked to do a festival of Irish culture in Belfast. It's a big deal over there. What's it called again? The Filcher? The Fela? Fela? He fucking knows and you don't! This guy's from a different generation. This is more our fucking Wolf Tones Rebel Songs guy. Correctly assessed. I got booked to do this gig, and it's a big deal over there, right? And I was quite the gig, this is an important point, the gig is technically for Sinn Féin. And I was a controversial figure at this point, right? I don't know how closely you've followed my career. But when I was announced as being on it, this thing, people went fucking insane. People started picketing in the fucking streets. And I thought, I'm going to do this gig anyway. I want to bring division to the normally united city of Belfast. But because there was all this tension about it, they sent two guys to meet us off the ferry, and they were like serious guys. One of them looked like he was maybe a heavyweight boxer. I went to him, who are you? He went, I'm here as an advisor. And my support actor to him, who's a big camp jolly guy, went, oh! What would you say if I said you seem like something a wee bit more than an advisor? I'd advise you to shut the fuck up. So here's the thing, mate. I always feel obliged to do a few jokes about the climate crisis. I know audiences don't love to hear about that. Even though we had Rosebank fucking approved the other day, it's a disaster. We all try and tune it out in some level, I understand that. So what I propose is, I'll do some short banging jokes, I'll try and get the ball in the air. We'll do the climate change stuff like it's fucking medicine. You won't even notice that it's happening. Before you know it, we're on the home straight talking filth. Short banging jokes. My uncle always said, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. He did heroin. People say, don't they? People say that you only regret the things that you don't do. I don't know who said that first, but it's someone who's never broken 2 corkscrews trying to get an unlubricated parsnip out of their arse. There's always a moment for everyone, isn't there? There's always a moment when you lose your childhood innocence. For me, I think it was the moment when I realised that Santa's sperm tasted exactly the same as my dad's. Okay, climate change, here we go. In Glasgow, it's difficult to work out who's protesting about the climate. Has someone glued themselves to the road, or were they just sniffing glue and fell over? I have this moment every year, and it happens earlier every year. I think it was maybe May this year. Enjoying the sunshine. Oh, this is nice. Now you remember, wait a minute, this is because of climate change. A bit like when you first get cancer and your clothes start to fit better. King Charles spoke out recently about the environment. He said it's rare to hear such despair in young people's voices that aren't coming from his brother's bedroom. To be fair to the Royals, they've always done their bit to reduce emissions by never flying the jewels they own back to the countries they stole. I got invited to the Royal Jubilee. This is true. Do you remember the Royal Jubilee? It was like a kind of soft launch of our death. If that's too much, you're going to find the rest of this section quite challenging. They sent me a letter and they said, we're having a parade at the Royal Jubilee of national treasures. Do you want to come? I've never been so overwhelmed with the feeling that my work has been misunderstood. After the Queen died, I didn't make any jokes, maintained a strict silence as I tried to sneak back out of her bedroom. There was a 10-mile queue to see the Queen lying in state. I accidentally joined the wrong queue, and at the end it was just a scouser who charged me a tenner to see a dead badger in a tiara. They took the coffin from Westminster Abbey all the way to Windsor. So people lined the route. There was people who waited maybe 6 hours just to see a car drive by. They interviewed the guy and they went, why are you here? They went, just so I could say I did it. You could just say you did it. I did it as well. There you go. That's what he says. The same guy said, it's the Queen, isn't it? She's irreplaceable. Mate, she was Queen Elizabeth II. I don't think Charles is going to last long. After that coronation, I was thinking, it's hardly worth his while leaving the fucking cathedral. Those fingers don't suggest longevity. His relationship with Camilla must be largely finger-based. Any cock would be a disappointment after those fingers. It must be cock first, finger second. Our king is using his cock for foreplay. I really want to get that in some merchandise. Prince Andrew wasn't allowed to wear his military uniform at the coronation. He had to wear a tracksuit and a fix-it badge. Andrew, the rapist formerly known as Prince. He fucked up so badly, he got fired from not having a job. Said he's retired from public life. It's not your public life we're worried about, pal. It's your private life. Keep him in public life. Keep him where we can fucking see him. Can't believe he's never apologised. I apologise after consensual sex. Imagine being Prince Andrew, right? You spend your whole life doing nothing. And suddenly your whole life is admin. Every day you're opening attachments from your lawyer, Shitting yourself every time you see the words PDF file. At Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, Epstein's pilot gave evidence. He said, yeah, I flew that plane for Epstein. I flew a lot of famous people on the plane. I never saw anything untoward happening. That's because you were flying the plane. All you're saying is nobody got fucked on the nose of the plane. Nobody got raped in a cloud, not on my watch. I did originally have a very horrible, indefensible joke really at the end of this section that I dropped, but fuck it, here we go. I sometimes wonder if there's people involved in elite paedophilia who don't really want to be there. It's just kind of where the deals get done nowadays. A bit like the deals used to get done at the golf. Paedophilia, the new golf. A lot of tricky holes when you get to 18, it's all over. You can't really finish a joke like that. Who said the word boo? It's boo. No. Boo. You can't finish a joke like that. People leave and go, well, he finished on an absolute blizzard of child sex material. And I found I enjoyed it. We'll try and find a note of optimism to finish on. What can be optimistic about? Science! Science is always optimistic. Do you know that last year, scientists managed to cure dementia in mice? Incredible news. Incredible news if you have dementia. Not such great news if you're a mouse. Because if you have been used in an experiment and will soon be thrown into a bin, the last thing that you want is clarity. That'll be enough optimism. Before we go, there are 3 jokes at the end of that bit, and if that one doesn't land well enough, we get into some pretty shady territory. You did well to check out when you did. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, can we hear it one time for Alexandra Hanno?